Hey, welcome to episode 20 of Adopted Geordies, brought to you by BetMGM, and we have a very special episode for you today because, well, basically this is our season review, our wrap-up. I'm Andy Jaye, and I'm sat with Mr. Rob Lee, former club captain, Newcastle legend, and on the line, you love him, so do we, over the wall himself, Mr. Ryan Taylor. How are we, boys?
All good.
I'm hot. It's lots of pillars here, mate. I'm loving it, but it's hot, so
Rob did request.
It's very comfortable, but
he did request that he was really comfortable. So we've got every pillow in the studio, and we've basically put.
I'm still trying to get rid of a few of them.
Put them all, and I'll get Rob. This is later as well if we can. I'll make sure you have as many pillows as you're as comfortable as possible because it's essential. But no, the point of today. So we are recording this. The season hasn't finished. There are 2 games left. So we're recording this the day after we beat Chelsea in one of the most exhausting matches I've ever watched. I was absolutely on tenterhooks. Ryan, you were there. What was it like?
Well, the atmosphere was unbelievable, to be honest, before the game. Proper war flags were in full flow. But you could just tell that early kickoff was, it favoured Newcastle. But let me tell you, that second half was the longest second half I think I've watched all season.
Yeah.
But the first 20, 25 minutes, they were out the blocks. The sending off obviously changes the game, but the place was, as you would expect yesterday. The sun was shining. It was just weird. It was 12 o'clock. But they came out the traps like I thought they would, to be honest.
Yeah, you kind of look at it after the fact. And we talked about before the game, this was our next cup final. And we're going to talk about the cup final, by the way, later today. And we're going to talk about best moments and our season highlights and so on. But we'll just react to this match because prior to the game, apart from goal difference, we were neck and neck with Chelsea. And everyone was kind of talking about this is it. This is the shootout. We're keeping an eye on Villa. We're keeping an eye on Nottingham Forest. But we've got to get something out of Chelsea because if they take us, that could be it. We could tumble. And now the situation is, we love our stats, Rob, of course. And now the situation is that Newcastle have a 94.9% chance of securing Champions League football. There's still 2 games to go, Arsenal and Everton. So it's not a fait accompli as it stands, but the statistics are suggesting that it's going to happen. Rob, do you think we end up in the Champions League?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. With the 2 games we've got going as well, Arsenal will be a good one.
Well, we've beaten them 3 times already.
Exactly.
So,
and Chelsea, we've got a record of beating them a lot as well. So I expect us to beat Chelsea at home.
Well, we've beaten Chelsea at home.
That's
we
what
did
I'm
that
saying.
yesterday.
Yes,
yeah.
I know
Oh,
that.
you
That's
expect?
what I'm saying. I expect us to beat
all
Chelsea.
these pillows have gone to your head.
Because we haven't got a great record when we play at midday, have we?
Yeah.
I think they've got a poor record when we play at midday.
Well, it's a horrible kick-off time. I mean, it's just nobody wants it because fans haven't had a chance to
Go down the pub.
Well, yeah, basically get ready for the game. It's just not fair. I'm going to have to take this off. I'm too hot now. Ryan, what do you think? Are we definitely getting Champions League in your view?
Yeah, in my eyes, yeah. We've only got Everton and Jesus. I mean,
Well, Arsenal.
Yeah, but you know what? We had to take care of the home games. For me, Arsenal will be a bonus if we can obviously take anything off them. But the Everton one, it'll be class to do it at home. I know it'd be lovely to do it at Arsenal, but it'd be special to actually achieve in last day and everything else. But yeah, regardless of that, take away the nerves and everything, I wouldn't mind a little point at Arsenal.
Well, there is this mad situation, which is possible. I don't know how likely, but it is possible that if we beat Arsenal and we beat Everton, then we are guaranteed to finish second. And my goodness, that would be, if you looked at how we were, I mean, I was at Brentford away back in November, December time. I think we were about 11th in the league at that point. We were struggling for consistency. We were missing open chances. We were just looking like a lower team side. And so if you told me then you're going to win a cup and finish second in the league, I wouldn't have believed you.
It's been a long time since we finished second, isn't it? It's been
your days.
Yeah, so it's been a long, long time. But yeah, I can see us do it. I think you're right. Consistency is what we lacked, and also getting the right team. I think now we've got that. I know Joe's been injured the last few games, but that midfield 3 is as good as anybody. I keep saying it. Isak's been fit and hasn't been scoring as many as he had before, but he's a danger. The wingers are danger. Got a settled back 4. I know Botman came back yesterday, but I keep saying it. We've got a really, really good team.
We have. I mean, is it Ryan, is it too risky to use the word elite? I'm not talking about the club at this point in time, but the team, the starting 11, Eddie and the lads he puts on that pitch. Are we at elite level at this point?
I think we're missing that next elite level, if I'm being honest. And that'll only come, I'd imagine, if once we get in the Champions League and get next season and we sign a couple, because I think we're just missing a couple to actually really challenge when we go into the Champions League next year. So we understand what it is after having obviously the season in it. But for me, watching it this season, Rob's just mentioned the word consistency. If you want to be winners, you look at one or two positions, and we definitely can improve. We can definitely bring in a young centre back just to get a little bit of experience, but of a level that'll take you to another level in a year or two. And we definitely need someone to help Alex up front. He looks, I don't know whether he's shot of confidence or he just looks knackered. He just doesn't look the same as he did 4 or 5 weeks ago.
You agree with that, Rob? Would you? Are those the changes you'd make?
I
or the
think,
additions, perhaps?
Yeah, I disagree a little bit. I think our 11 are elite. I think they're all international players. Dan Burns now an international player. I just think you're adding to the squad to challenge them. Yeah, I get that. And Ryman Bembo has been mentioned from Brentford. I think he'll be a very good sign on the right hand side. But then you got to get you got these players have got to get into the team. I think I think maybe we need another centre forward, but to challenge Isak a little bit. But we're not going to play two up front, so you've got to get a centre forward that's going to be happy not playing week in, week out.
It is a tough one. Yeah, it is a tough one, and I think we definitely need to add, because we're going into the next couple of years where the transition now is, can we stay there? But next year, Man City will be better, you'd think. Chelsea look good. They looked very good yesterday. So they're
especially down to 10. They looked decent at 10, didn't they?
They were even better at 10.
Yeah.
And Villa look good. So we need, you can't now fall back into 6th or 7th, where what we did after the Champions League season. You need a bigger squad, but you also need better players as well.
Well, Eddie himself has said this, hasn't he? He's not ducked the questions when they've asked him in press conferences and so on. He sort of said this needs to be a transformative window for us. We hear, of course, nothing's come from the club, nothing's come from Eddie, but we hear sort of speculative comments from journalists that are saying, we would imagine 4 first-team available players. Doesn't mean they're getting in the first team, but they'd be, they would be challenging your Jacob Murphys, your Fabian Schär's and so on for that starting berth. They'd be at that level. Let's see what they do. I mean, it's exciting times. Lads, let's actually have a reflection on this, leaving the cup out of it, because I want to talk about the cup in a moment. What has been the standout moments for you guys in terms of this season? What memories are you taking away when we look back on the season? Who stood out? What moments were great for you? What goals did you love? Rob, you take it away first. What did you love about this season?
Well, I just think, as you say, we didn't have a great start. But you keep saying take away the cup. You can't take away the cup.
Well, because we're going to talk about the cup.
But that's what makes us a great season. We've won a trophy.
Yeah.
There's only 3 trophies we can win. We won a trophy, and we're going to finish in the Champions League as well. Players have been. I think the players have been amazing. Normally, you get through at the end of the season. You can give a little bit of stick or slag a few players. I think everybody's done unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jacob Murphy, I think, has been, before the season started, if we're going to replace anybody, we're going to replace him at some stage. But he's been frighteningly good. And when we interviewed, the 2 Brazilian boys, they said he's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing in training, he's amazing around
They
the
love
place.
him, yeah.
But his performances on the pitch have been, I think, nothing short of marvellous. Dan Burn, everyone thought Dan Burn would be replaced last year.
He
started playing left back.
Yeah.
Playing centre half now, left centre half. What is his position? He's an England international, and he looks an England international. So, I think those 2 players who would have been rated as our, not our star players, have come to the fruition. And all the players, Tino, the 2 fullbacks, 2 young fullbacks we got. I think Trippier's come back in, and from being, honestly, I thought he was gone. But everyone thought he was gone. He's come back and he's been outstanding. We've got 2 young fullbacks who are probably be the England fullbacks for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So I think the season we've had, I know you keep saying take away the cup, which I'm not going to, because we'll talk about it later, but I just think it's been, for the whole team, the 11 that we have players. Yeah, we need more players to have a bigger squad, but it's just been an amazing. I can't even, I like a little moan and have a go at somebody. I can't have a go at anyone. It's like we've just been so good.
It's been a good season because Rob Lee can't diss anyone. We'll take that. And to be fair, I think Jacob Murphy, the way he's playing, you look at his statistics, you look at his numbers and his assists and his goals and so on. He should be playing for England. He deserves an England call-up with those numbers, with the performances that he's been putting in. Ryan, how about you? What stood out for you this season? You've been at every home game. And plenty of away games. We met at Spurs, for example. What have you loved? What's really been a big moment for you?
Do you know what I love, Andy? I just love the feel-good factor. The feel-good when you go to the stadium now, the expectation is like it's real now. You go there and I know we've lost a couple of home games that we maybe shouldn't have. Teams like that, Brighton. But everyone will always give you a game in this league. But I've just loved the way it's been this year and the way we've just got better. And then after the cup, we haven't dropped off. It is hard to pick a moment when you've done something so special in the league. I'm going on about the cup that you don't want to talk about. But it's hard to pick a moment in the league because nothing's really defined. That's how we got in the Champions League yesterday. Yeah, maybe, but the levels. I mean, the best player because everyone will have an opinion, but the best player in that team, and the fact that he had that year out is Sandro Tonali, and now he's repaid that football club by putting in them performances. Is like, I just love watching the fella. He's unbelievable but everyone else gets the praise around him. Your Brunos and your Alex's, but he's now coming into that category now where people aren't missing what he's doing anymore.
I think that's reflected in the songs, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah.
I have been very privileged to have been at St James's a lot this season. I've seen many, many, many games there. And certainly the start of the season, you'd have some murmurings of Tonali songs because he's got some cool songs, right? So they get sung a bit like Osula. Doesn't mean you want the player on every few seconds. It's just you enjoy singing his song. But actually now, every other song is one of the Tonali hits because people are seeing how good he is.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, he's just been talking about Jacob there, Rob, and the levels. He's got 2 and the levels Dan's got 2 when we didn't think they possibly had them levels. How much credit seriously goes to the coaching staff for this? Because it's not just the players that have done this. Everyone, we looked at a team yesterday that I was kind of figuring out myself before the game. Who's going to play where? Didn't have a clue because. And then all of a sudden you see 3 at the back with some wing backs, but you've still got high wingers in Anthony, and then you had centre halves going really high up on Cole Palmer. So everyone just understands what Eddie wants now, and that's the full credit to him and his team, by the way, because I for one didn't think they could get to them levels, but not only they got to them, they've not dropped them.
Yeah, that massive flag that covered the hotel outside St James's of Eddie Howe. That should just be there permanently now. Do you know what I mean? Until a statue is cast in bronze, that flag should just, because that man has been unbelievable for us. I told him I was privileged enough to spend that time with him for the show earlier in the season. And I've spoken to him a couple of times since, and what a phenomenal human being. And I said to him to his face, I've told the viewers that I consider you to be a footballing genius. And, he crawled inside himself because he's a humble guy. He's not, I didn't mean to embarrass him by that. That wasn't what I was saying at all. But I consider him to be that because you look at where we were when he came in. What was it? November 2021. We were hot favourites to be relegated with a team of people that could barely pass the ball to each other. And Joe Linton playing where he was and so on. And the transformation, we look at Joe Linton as the fairy tale, but now there's always a fairy tale. And the fairy tale happens because Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall and the rest of the coaching staff put the shift in. They see something in players that other managers haven't. and they go, right, this is what you can be. They did it with Lewis Hall. We were wondering, why don't we see any of Hall after all that money we've committed to him last season? And now we see why, because he's been phenomenal. If you looked at Jacob Murphy's stats last season, the season before, the season before, the season before, and said, this is what he's going to be doing when he's 29, approaching 30, you'd never have believed it. But that's the Eddie Howe magic. He's got it. He's a phenomenal guy. It's just my opinion, fanboying like crazy. But I think so much of the credit, yes, of course, we have bought really well. Not for 3 windows, but we have bought really well. But that's also been Eddie's blueprint. He's bought the players that he knows he can transform. That's rant over, but I think Eddie's amazing.
That was a rant, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think he's
It was
amazing.
It was like a rant slash man crush, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I do want to be his friend. I'm not.
He's very humble, but I think he knows he's good.
Of course he knows he's
If
good.
you're that good, you know you're good.
Yeah.
You know, he's been brilliant with the players, as you say, you know, bringing Joe Linton from a number 9 to a midfield player, and as you say, changing all the players, and we haven't bought anybody for a while.
No.
You know what I mean? Be interesting. I think a lot of managers get it wrong when they start spending big money.
Right.
So I think if you start spending 50, 60, 70 million on players.
We spent 70 on Isaac.
Yeah, he was very good. And I think his records be very. It's not just getting the right players on the field, it's getting the right players off the field to actually, so they don't cause a problem in the. It takes one bad apple and all of a sudden I think we've got a really good dressing room. All the players seem to get on really, really well. And I think that's really important. And if you get a bad apple, even if he's one of the best players, and he starts causing rift in the change room, it can change everything.
Do you know, I love that you brought that up, Rob, because both the pair of you have said a version of that to me across the course of the season. And it's got me thinking about some of the teams, and we're not going to speculate on other teams. It's not the Manchester United podcast or the Liverpool podcast. It's the Newcastle podcast. Yeah. But you look at certain teams that are supposedly top 6 teams that have really floundered, and there's 2 in particular. They're in a Europa League final together, and you sort of wonder what's gone on there. Is there a bad apple? Are there a couple of bad apples that have totally disrupted everything? And thank goodness we don't have them. That's all I'm saying. Thank goodness we don't have those kind of mythical players that come in and mess everything up, because it looks, since you've mentioned that, it looks to me like there must be a couple of teams this season that are struggling with that very issue.
I also think that where Newcastle positioned, as in where it is as a city, it's to get players to come and play for Newcastle. That maybe they wanted to play in the Premier League, but didn't actually want to play for Newcastle. Didn't really know where it was. It's bloody cold, as we all know.
It's not too
it's
bad.
At the ends of the earth, as we all know. It's not. It takes ages to get to London.
It's the best place in the world.
I agree. I totally agree. But I didn't when I first went in '92. I thought it's fucking cold up here. I didn't realise where it was, and I think now we've got players that actually want to play for Newcastle and want to live in the area and actually get it, and we haven't had that for a long, long time.
If you were a player now, Ryan, you're perfectly placed to answer this. If you were a player now who was of a certain level where you could play for any team in the Premier League right now, so you're obviously a really good player, but let's say you're an international player not playing in the Premier League at the moment. I'm not going to name any names. Where is more exciting to play right now than Newcastle United? Where would you, we've just won a cup. We might finish second. We should finish in a Champions League place. We've got ambition. We've got the most phenomenal fan base in the world. People will have looked at the parade, and now I'm talking about something I said we wouldn't talk about yet. People will have looked at that parade, which was international news, the whole day of the parade. I mean, I myself was the pundit for Sky Sports, not for Sky Sports, rather for Sky News, to talk about the parade. It's this amazing thing. People will have seen it. If you're a player internationally, where else are you going? If Newcastle make an offer for you, or Nottingham Forest, or Chelsea, or whatever, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Surely you come to the Toon.
Depends if you get 8 years at Chelsea, isn't it? That's no, of course, there's a lot of excitement at the club and the city and everything else. It's obviously on a buzz, but the only other option you'd probably think right now is that can excite you is the team who've just won the league.
Liverpool, sure.
But if you can't go there, then there's a club there which top class manager, as you just said, Rob, and he knows it, but he'll never say it. Thank God we never lost him to England. But obviously all the clubs around the top 6 will tell you there's excitement, but I have never felt Newcastle the way it is at the minute. I mean, just in the stadium yesterday, everyone smiles now.
I think if you've got to persuade a player to come to Newcastle now, then we don't want him.
Yeah. But
Because-
no, that's my point. Is you won't be persuading. People will be saying, "I want to go and play for Newcastle.
I don't know.
I want to be part of the war
It's not-
flags,
it's not-
part of the
you-
atmosphere."
Yeah, that's you as not being played. I think some of the foreign players that come over will want. I want to be in London. I want to be
really?
in Manchester.
People still say
And
that.
if they're the sort, without a doubt, my wife wants to be in Manchester. But if you look at what Newcastle have done this season, the coach we've got, players we've got, Champions League coming up. If it's a footballing decision, then with the excitement, the fans we got, he should be coming to Newcastle.
Yeah.
And if he has to, if he doesn't come, then we don't want him.
Yeah, the big one used to always be the training ground, Rob. For me, people used to come and it's not a top training ground, but even that's getting better.
Yeah,
And,
well, we used to have wheelie bins with ice in, didn't we? That was.
Yeah,
That was before
we haven't
my
got
time.
that anymore.
We didn't have them.
but that's what I mean. So they used to get put off by, you go to Tottenham, and Tottenham's facilities, and I've been there myself, are incredible. So we are just catching up at that level. But on the pitch, there's only one team that's better really this season because they've won the Premier League.
And we beat them in the cup. We can move on to that
Quite
now.
comfortably.
We did though, didn't we? What a game that was. So yeah, go on. Who wants to take it? Who wants to talk us through what the cup win meant and what that special day was all about? Rob, do you want to go first?
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, I've been there a few times, played in numerous times at Wembley for Newcastle. Never played well.
You scored.
Never got a result. Yes, I scored in the semi-final, but again we lost. So for us to go there and I mean, even 2 years ago when we played against Man United, we didn't play well.
Yeah,
and you
we didn't show up.
Wow, we haven't played in my lifetime. We haven't played well at Newcastle. Haven't played well at Wembley ever until this game. And I thought from the minute we started that game, I knew he was going to win. I knew he was going to win.
Did you?
Yeah,
Like straight away?
I just knew it. Yeah, I thought if we especially if we get the first goal, this is really important because we don't usually get the first goal. We're always behind and chasing. But as soon as Dan's Burnett, his header went in, I knew he'd win because we were better than them.
Yeah,
We were better than them.
Do
yeah.
you know where you knew we won it, Rob? Was when the midfield just absolutely bullied theirs in the first 10 minutes, and you thought, nah, they don't fancy this today. We caught them at a good time, though, just with losing to Paris, losing Trent, and things like that. Whereas we got over losing Anthony and Lewis by playing West Ham, and we had a game in between. Got that win and feeling back again away to West Ham. But like Rob said, then you could sense that Newcastle were going to win that. 2 years ago against Man United, we were hoping we'd turn up, and it was it just did feel different. Like he said, after 5-10 minutes, you just thought, yeah, these boys are on it, and we didn't know how big it was going to be. And then you see obviously the parade and everything, and it was a special day, special week, special couple of weeks actually.
See, this is the ex-players talking here, right? Your confidence that we were going to win it and everything else. You haven't had this muscle memory of failure ingrained into you, which is what many of us fans. I've been a fan for more than 4 decades, right? And I'm so used to us nearly, but not, nearly, but maybe, but perhaps, but not. And it's just getting used to it. So that the whole of the first half, I was convinced we were playing much better than them. It was obvious. You didn't need to be a footballing expert or an ex-professional to see that we were far, far the better team. But you still, as a Newcastle fan, at least speaking exclusively for myself, I was still like, but I know we're in charge, but it's Newcastle. We bottle it. We have historically, and we didn't, and it was phenomenal. And I couldn't, at the full-time whistle, when the full-time score came out 2-1, I couldn't really process what was going on, and loads of the fans around me were the same. We were you had people crying, you had people kind of numb, you had many of us screaming ourselves hoarse, and I was FaceTiming my kids and doing all the kind of different things you do because but I was in shock, and I think that's a shock that lasted for weeks actually. I believed it, but I was still pinching myself. We're a team that wins, and it still feels amazing.
I think it's still going on. I think some people still. I sometimes think, well, we won a trophy, by the way.
Yeah.
It's never been heard of.
Yeah.
But again, I always, whenever I played and whenever I watched games, I always was how many of their players, and Keegan used to do it all the time, how many of their players will get in our team.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd look at. And I look at from when I played Man United with the best team, Arsenal, quite a few were getting our team. You look now, even when you're playing against Liverpool, how many of their midfield were getting our midfield?
None of them.
But striker. And I'm thinking, well, actually, Liverpool are the closest, I think, to getting players in our team. But you look at the other teams, you think, that's what I've always said. Man United, we're better than them.
Yeah.
Player for player, we are better than them. And I think it's been a long time since we can say that. A long time since we can say that.
Oh, I feel so good. I hope this continues. I hope we have a really exciting summer. I hope we keep. Yeah, let's get both of your opinions on that as well. Assuming we do get Champions League, but let's also discuss the slim possibility that we don't as well, because there are 2 games still to go. So either option, whether we do or don't get Champions League, is there a risk that any of our big blue chip players, let's say it, Isak, Bruno, Tonali, Gordon, let's go with those 4. Is there a risk that any of them leave, or do you think they are bedding in? Do you think they are staying no matter what?
Listen, we're in Europe. We won a trophy. We're in Europe anyway. I generally think we're going to get into the Champions League. If they want to leave, that's nothing to do with the Champions League.
Right.
They want to go somewhere else, because it's nothing to do with playing. We're in Europe. We've won a trophy. We've got a great manager. We've got great players. So it would just be their personal, I want to go and live in Paris. I want to go and live in Madrid. I want to go somewhere else. It would be nothing to do with that. They might say it will be, but it's nothing to do with that.
Okay. What's your hunch?
I think we'll keep them all.
Keep them all.
Yeah, keep them all and add to it, yeah.
Ryan?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I think he's spot on, to be fair. What would tempt you away now? More money, bit of sunshine, going to places like Madrid, places like that. But after, when you see, you only have to look at Bruno's celebration yesterday. He's just one of them now. But they all are. They've all bought into it. I think Sandro owes the club a hell of a lot. And Alex is your main man. You're talking of players that here who play every single week. We've got European football nailed on, but I'll tell you now, we won't lose Champions League football. So I don't think you have to worry about that, and you can, take your sweaty palms.
You're negative, you.
I'm not being negative.
Yeah.
I've said it.
Give them sweaty palms a little rub on your pillow, and let's be a little bit more upbeat.
Well, Rob's got most of the pillows.
Do you know we just lost to Chelsea yesterday? This will be a different conversation. But
Yeah.
Andy, we won.
Yeah, we did. I know, mate. I know. It was an unbelievable game. It was a horrible game to watch, and also a brilliant game to watch. And we've had a few of those this season. And
that's Newcastle.
That's part of the fun,
why
isn't
you
it?
watch Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're excited to watch. We're not boring. We're an exciting team to watch. And I think, you look at the Premier League, there ain't many exciting teams around.
Yeah, that's true.
We're one of them. We've got exciting players, and we're exciting to watch.
Brentford are quite exciting to watch as well.
Yeah, we're going to nick one of their players at least. We'll have him. No problem.
We're talking like this. I mean, look. It's easy to kind of go on, isn't it? The cup win is historic. It changes the narrative of what we are as a club, not just to other teams, potential players, and all the rest of it, but to ourselves. We are now a team that wins. I'm never going to get bored of saying that. I actually don't think that this is going to be something that we take for granted either. Everyone says the first win is going to be the sweetest, and I think that amazing parade and the turnout for it is unique. But I honestly believe that when we win something else, which might be next season, might be the season after, I still think the euphoric feeling will remain, because I think we are a humble fan base. I think we know where we've come from, and I think we're an informed fan base who won't ever just assume and expect and therefore not bother showing up for that cup final because we've been to a couple. I think you'll always have the Geordies showing up, loving it and appreciating it.
No, there's no way if the Geordies are playing at Wembley for any reason, that there'll be spare seats.
Yeah.
Any reason.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm referencing the fact that we saw some empty seats.
Exactly, yeah. There's no way you could play it in the Gateshead Shield and the whole of the Geordies will turn out at Wembley to watch Newcastle.
A game against some YouTubers, they'll still go.
They will. They'll pack it out. They will pack it out wherever they go. And they've always done that. I remember playing in King used to test everybody's testimony. Billy Bingham's across in Ireland, and it'd be packed full of Geordies.
Yeah.
Everybody went to one in Celtic again. They want to play against Newcastle because the crowd follow them.
Show up.
They follow them, and they always have done that. Do you know what I mean? Now they can follow them knowing we've won a trophy. So
Yeah. It's been amazing. Guys, let's talk about us, this show, Adopted Geordies. You know, the pair of you were transferred in. You were big name acquisitions in the January transfer window, and I've absolutely loved...
Still waiting for me signing on fee, by the way. You said it'd be here, but you said it'd be here.
Got your cup
I know. I've had a cup of bar of chocolate so far.
It was a nice chocolate. It was London prices.
Rob, you see them pillows? That's what you got, mate.
That's it. That's
Point.
it.
I've been warming
Give him
this
another
one
one,
up
Andy.
for you, Rob.
Yeah,
There you
There you go.
6 pillars. That's
Yeah, there you
the
go.
transfer fee.
Yeah,
There's a
go.
blanket over there. It's so hot in this
minus
studio
90 degrees
well.
as well.
Well, you say you want it to be warm, so we've got it sorted. But let's talk about it, because for me this has been such a privilege, such a pleasure, and I don't take any of it for granted. The access we've had, the people that have shared their love of this club, the things that we have been able to do, the players we've spoken to, Eddie and JT, and all of these things. But you guys joining in January, for me, like I say, has been absolutely amazing as well. Rob, what have you enjoyed about being apart from the pillows, obviously?
Well, obviously, the pillows are the main thing. Yeah, that's I've loved them. No, listen, as you say, I hadn't actually met the Bruno and Big Joe. To be able to get to access to the club and to meet them and to interview them, really, and Alexander Isak as well, to realise what good guys they are, and how much they do love Newcastle. Still my favourite one is picking up James Bay, because nobody else could be bothered to pick him up, Andy.
Well, it wasn't me.
It was you.
He missed his
were
Uber.
organising it.
I'd sorted his Uber out, and he didn't get in, and you stepped up and said, well, let's go and get him. I didn't have a car up there.
That was it. Uber said, you're waiting for James Bay. Who? Yeah, I'm going in 5 minutes. Yeah,
He was,
so,
this Uber driver was not, he didn't care that he was waiting for a megastar. He charged me a fortune for a cancellation fee as well. It was brutal. But no, you stepped up, Rob. But it was, well, in fact, why don't we show you? Here are some of our favourite moments from the last few episodes. With the greatest Uber driver you will ever meet. England legend, Newcastle captain, Rob Lee in the car collecting James Bay, who's in the back.
We made it.
Look at this.
We'll make it work one way or another.
The things we do to deliver an Adopted Geordies show for you.
I want a 5-star rating for this.
The his thing.
Oh, hi Sting. How are you?
We didn't see the Spider-Man mask enough, though, Jonas. What happened there? It was you had it in your sock, right?
No, I have my underwear, you know.
No wonder you didn't want to put it on.
yeah. But well, it smells good as well.
If you had to choose one of them to babysit, who is it?
Well, it'd have to be one of the dads in the group, be one of the older lads. Probably Dan Bird.
Oh,
Big Dan Bird.
Oh, that's
Just reliable,
yeah,
committed, honest, gives you everything, regardless of what you ask.
And of course, you'll come home and the boys will all be doing that.
They'll be doing that or heading the ball. You know, they'll be doing one of the two things. But just a great character.
I've just got this feeling this is our year. It's got to be. I've been to Wembley 7 times now, and I've been disappointed every time. And I'm 62 now, so we've got to.
For me, it's the best fans in England by miles. Especially, I would say both away from home and home. It's unbelievable. Like I already said this in other interviews. When we play at home and we feel the fans with us, it's like play with one more player, like player 12 versus 11. You know, it's unbelievable.
It is over the wall himself, Ryan Taylor!
Let's talk about kind of spirit in the squad and the team camaraderie and so on. You know, we certainly see in your celebrations, in your pre-match huddle and all the rest of it, you're getting some really lovely, almost telepathic chemistry with people like Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon. How's that? Does that just happen over time, or are you kind of putting the time in as mates?
I think that's just the squad, and the the aura within the team it's always been really good. Many of us we don't have to be the best friends outside of football, but within the team and training session, games, everyone is getting along very well with each other, and I think you can see it on the pitch as well.
Well, I did it with
Mine's
Johnny.
no different, is it?
No, you look, I didn't even know you had it on.
Put the wig on,
I
Rob.
looked at that screen and I'm like, I'm sure I've just put something on my head.
I wasn't as long as this.
No, I didn't remember it being
No, it
as
wasn't
long as that.
This is
but
more of a
it's-
Darren Peacock, I'd say. More of a
Barry
Darren
Venice.
or a Barry
Darren
Venison.
Venice, yeah. Venice was out here. It was like,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
back
yeah. That's,
home,
I
didn't it?
thought venison. So yeah, that's some of the fun we've had so far, Ryan. I'm glad we managed to share the box park experience together. Wasn't that amazing?
Oh, that was class. I done it 2 years ago, but I got on stage for probably less than 5 minutes. But to have an hour with them, we thought it was going to be long, didn't we? We thought an hour. How on earth do you fill an hour on stage, and everyone else just wants to get bladdered? So you start worrying, thinking, "Uh-oh." But do you know what? As each guest came on, but what was class for me was the fact that these were lads I haven't seen for years, but I've spent years with. Rob will tell you, you go through dressing rooms all your career, 20 years, and you can probably count on one hand how many you still speak to. But
that's crazy when you think about it. It's not. I guess it's our equivalent is school.
Yeah, because everyone goes in different directions, and you lose contact, and before you know it, they've had more kids, and you just lose all contact. But then to see the likes of Johan, who I haven't seen, and get to interview him, and he was even laughing because the last time I seen him, we were probably having a free kick competition at training. It's like and then the next time you see him is a few years later, and you're interviewing him. It's like it's a bizarre feeling, but it was quality to actually be in the room, and getting Jonas in and Tim as well, because even when I was with Tim for years, but we never really had that like deep conversation because you just don't. They were good times, but I'll imagine that we got to meet by you here, Wigan, on my conversations. Yeah.
Oh mate, it was great fun. It was great fun, and that's the thing. We should share. In fact, we sort of talk about this is our season wrap up, Rob. Obviously, because we're coming to you with 2 games left, but we're hoping and all the rest of it. So this is the last Adopted Geordies for the 24-25 season. But we haven't finished here. In fact, we've got quite a lot to share. We have already sat down. I'm going to just play you a little anecdote with this man because we had a really good chat early on in Rob's time, and we thought we'd save it for a special occasion. So here's just a little moment for a chat that we'll be sharing soon.
And off the pitch, he was in the days where there was no cameras, phones, he was just mad. Parties around his house were mad.
And were you at all of them?
No, I was at none of them.
Just heard about it afterwards.
I heard about them.
So that's I can't wait to share more of that interview because that was a lot of fun, Rob. We were kind of talking about your non-party days. Of course he didn't attend them. And then Ryan's obviously mentioned Johan Kabay. I mean, that was a big moment because he hasn't come back and been involved with Newcastle United since he left. So for us to have this exclusive sit down with him, well, here's a little clip for you. Talk us through some of your favourites.
I would say my free kick against Man United.
Oh yeah,
at home. Then against Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah,
as well the volley. I had the volley against Aston Villa as well. So my goal at Everton. Goodison as well, a shot from distance. I was enjoying my football, so I tried, but sometimes I had mistakes as well, and I shot far away from the goal, but I was in really confidence.
So looking forward to sharing that one. Tim Krul, another one that Ryan mentioned. What a lovely man, by the way, Tim Krul is. What a fantastic guy. Here's a little highlight of this.
I started in the under-18s. So I had a period where I went to the games and I walked with the fans to the stadium, in the turnstiles, and I really got a feel for going to Sunderland away in the crowd and feeling what it means to the fans. And
right.
I mean, you can't not. I mean, they took over London last night and they're taking over London today. So the Geordies are special and they will make sure you get it. for sure. And that helped me a lot as a young lad coming through.
Yeah.
To have that experience to go to these games as a fan before you actually. My dream was obviously to become a number one and to play for the club. But yeah, to have that experience was special.
And of course, we have, everybody knows this, but it's never really acknowledged, Ryan Taylor's brother, Stephen Taylor.
So like learning from the managers that I've had, the Kevin Keegans, the Bobby Robsons, the ones who the players have loved because of the game management and the way they spoke to the players. You know, that was the big thing for me, is how you were treated as a player. If you weren't playing, is still you're feeling that love around the place, because every footballer needs that love. And I see sometimes now, you just hearing in modern day football, if you're not playing, the agents getting their kids' ears and all the kind of issues, and a lot of people can't handle it.
So there we go. You do see them in the same room, but not with us. In fact, we couldn't have Ryan and Stephen in the same show. Rob stepped in to talk to Stephen because we had to continue the myth that they were brothers who never hung out. But we've got some good times to come, is my point. So, boys, it just sort of leaves it for me to say thank you, Ryan, thank you, Rob, for being part of this mad journey. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope that we get to do this a lot more in the future. As you know, there's at least, plus we've got a special episode with Ryan that we've been promising that we need to do, but not on a Zoom link, Ryan, because that's there's too much static there.
How can I not come down now when I see that many pillows?
I'll save you a pillow, mate. You'll be fine.
Honestly, like I'm in now. Yeah, I'll leave it. It's a couple of hours away, but it'll be worth it.
Should have sent you some photos of the pillows. And of course, Ryan and I have been sort of hosting the Huddle together as well, which if you haven't checked it out, I think we did 6 episodes in the end, Ryan. It was our reaction straight after matches. So if you'd like to hear, Ryan's so good at reading the game. That's why we started them. So if you'd like to hear Ryan's thoughts after certain games, they're waiting for you on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So and other podcast platforms. So they're all there waiting. All that leaves me to say really is what a season, what a team, what a club, and what a privilege. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Ryan. You've been with Adopted Geordies, brought to you by BetMGM. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.